Testing.
Con. All right, so we're going to get this thing started. First of all, we're going to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? All praise for the Most High for just putting our spirit just come out here and keep His Passover, right? And to be in the spirit of Passover, right? So we're gonna start out with Colossians 3:17.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to Yahweh and the Father by Him.
Right. So with all we doing, we always doing it in the name of Yahweh Shai, right? We don't want to find ourselves doing things for men, to be seen of men, to get gratification of men, to please men. We want to please the Lord first and foremost in everything that we do, in every aspect of our life, right? And always you want to find yourself giving thanks to the Father, right? Yahweh, all right?
That's right.
So being that it's Passover, we're going to get into it. All right, let me start off at Exodus chapter 12, verse 1.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Right. So we understand that the Passover is in the beginning of the Hebrew calendar year, right? That's when the Passover begins in our year, in the beginning of our year, not the beginning of Esau's calendar, but our calendar as a people. All right, keep going.
It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls.
Right, so this going into the process of the very first Passover, right? And so they had to get a lamb on the 10th day. All right, but keep going, King.
Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with the bitter herbs. They shall eat it.
So you had to understand, this is the reason of Passover, right? So Passover was the Spirit of the Lord passing over, right, your house, right? Because what's going to happen is, if you didn't have that blood, that protection, right, and your firstborn was going to be destroyed, right? So the Lord, He looked out for His people, right? He gave them instructions, like, hey, I'm going to save y'all, but y'all got to do what I say.
Right.
Right? And that's just like now, right? Hey, the Lord give us instructions on how to get everlasting life. He give us instructions on how to get to the kingdom, right? And by us doing those things, Lord, will we get the kingdom? And just like that, just like you had instructions during Passover, right? We got instructions now, right? And so the people was commanded to put that blood, right? That blood that we know that Yahweh Shai, he died for us with His blood,
Right?
Right? He is that lamb, right? You know, we're gonna get into that, right? But keep going, King.
Verse 9. Eat not of it raw, nor soda at all with water, but roast with fire.
Right, so it's also let you know the instructions to it as well, right? So you don't want to boil it. You don't want to boil it. You don't want to eat it like Esau, right? Because they sometimes they don't eat that. They don't cook it all the way through. Right. So we gotta cook that thing all the way through. Right. We don't want no blood, no pink meat. You know what I'm saying? You gotta thoroughly cook that thing. Keep going.
His head with his legs and with the pertainance thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning.
Right. So they will basically roast the whole lamb, the whole thing, over a fire. Right. That's what's going on. They roasted a whole lamb over a fire. Right. So that's what's going on. Keep going.
And that which remaineth of it until the morning, ye shall burn with fire.
Right. So whatever remains in the morning, right, you burn it with fire. Go ahead.
And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded.
Right.
Your shoes on your feet.
Right. Everybody got to have their shoes on. Right. We got to have our loins girded. Right. Because that's what they had. That's what they had to have in that time. Because they had to get up out of it. They had to get up out of Egypt. right? And we want to have our loins girded in the spirit now, because we want to get about this Egypt.
Right.
This is Egypt all over again, right? Let me get Deuteronomy 11 and 8 real quick. All right, and get the classic Deuteronomy 28:68. Revelation 11:8.
Revelation 11:8.
Yeah, Revelation 11:8. Cause we gotta understand that everything that has happened before is gonna happen again, right? We got out of Egypt before, we're gonna get out of this Egypt. All right, keep going.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Right, so there's a place that's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, right? And sodomy is basically men with men, women with women. That's sodomy, right? So what other place, right, than other America, right? This is the capital of sodomy, right? You got other nations that come here and they become sodomites, right? Because they can't be sodomites in their own country, right? So this also is present Egypt, right? Because what you have the slavery of the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans. Because that's what we was doing in Egypt as well. We were slaves in Egypt. We were slaves here. But get that in Deuteronomy 28:68. Gone.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Right.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Right. So the Lord said that we would go into the slavery again, right? Because that's what that means. Because we all understand that we were slaves in Egypt, right? So Lord said, I'm going to bring you back into that state of being a slave again, right? By the transportation of ships, right? And that's how we understand that we are the people that fit these curses. That we are the Israelites, and we got to do the thing as Israelites. And that one of the things that Israelites do is keep Passover, right? Israelites don't keep Christmas.
Right.
Israelites don't keep Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and we keep the high holidays according to the Most High God, right? So let's go back to Exodus, King.
Right. I'll pray. Exodus 12, and let me see where I was at. I think I was at... 11. Exodus chapter 12 and verse 11. And there shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Right, so we want to eat it. We want to eat it in haste, right? Now, don't go choke on your food now, but you know what I'm saying? You want to kind of eat it in haste, because that was going on in the time of our forefathers, right? During the Passover. Because you got to remember, imagine, right? You late for your train ticket, right? You late for your plane, right? And you gonna try to kind of hurry up and eat that food, right? You ain't trying to miss that plane, right? And that was in the spirit. That's what they was missing. They were missing that trip, right? That's that trip out of Egypt, that ticket out of Egypt. If they would have took too long, they kind of could have got left out of that thing.
Right.
Keep going.
Exodus 12 and verse 12. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborns in the land of Egypt.
Right.
Both man and beast.
Right.
And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord.
Right. So we got to understand that the Most High God, he's a just God, right? So he does good things and he does bad things. And this is a time where the Lord said, hey, I'm going to smite the children of Egypt. I'm going to smite their firstborn, right? I'm going to show them my strength. I'm going to show them my power. Because that's what he was doing. He was showing them that, hey, I'm the one and true living God. Your magicians can't do what I do. Your enchanters can't do what I do. Nothing and nobody on this earth can do what Yahweh Shem Yahushua can do, right? So let's get that, man. Go to understand that it's the Lord that sent the angel down there to kill their firstborn. Give me Sirach 39 and verse 28.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on the sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force.
Right, so those spirits, hey, they were sent out for vengeance, right? Because the Lord was taking vengeance upon the Egyptians for what they did to the Israelites, right? Because how they oppressed the Israelites, how they put them down, how they ruled over them with rigor, right? So the Lord had to put his vengeance out upon them, right? It was their pride, right? So keep going.
and appease the wrath of him that made them.
Right, so these spirits that come upon the earth, right, these death and famine and destructive spirits, right, they're going to appease the one that made them, right? That means they're going to please the Most High. Imagine that, a death angel saying, all I want to do is please the Most High. It's deep. So if that death angel said all he want to do is please the Most High, then he going to do what he got to do. And you can't stop that death angel. And that's what happened to the Egyptians. They couldn't stop the death angel, right? Keep going.
Verse 29, fire and hell and famine and death.
And what?
And death.
And death, right? So the Lord sent death to the Egyptians. That's basically what he did. He sent a death angel to pass over the doors of Egypt. How mighty and how fierce is that? A death angel literally roaming outside your door. You that close to death. But if you listen to the Most High God, you can be saved. That's literally what happened. Death was on the other side of that door. But because they would listen to the Most High God, they were saved from it. Keep going.
All these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts.
All right, let's get rid of King.
Con.
Now go to Psalm 78 and verse 49.
Psalm 78 and 49.
Con.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them.
By doing what?
By sending evil angels among them.
Right, so the Lord, he can send evil angels to you, man. And you don't want that. That's why you want to make sure you're being sincere, you're being diligent, you're being on fire, right? And making sure that you're repenting and doing the works of the Lord, right? So now let's go back to Exodus, right? So I just want to break that out so we can understand it was the Lord that put these spirits upon Egypt, right? And how the Lord kind of get down this thing. We keep going.
Exodus 12 and 12. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborns in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt.
Right.
And this day shall be unto you for a memorial.
Right, so it said this day shall be a memorial.
God.
And that's why we keep in the Passover. Because we remembering. That's what a memorial is something that you remember. We remember what the Most High did for us back in the days. Because we are those same people.
Right.
We're the same people that the Most High came and he got Moses and he sent him to Egypt to say, let my people go. We them same people. We them same people. So we got to remember what the Most High did for us, man. We got to remember how he saved us with his mighty hand. Think about that. Out of all the other nations, he chose us. Every last one of us right now, we are Israelites. How beautiful is it to say that you're an Israelite, man? God's chosen people. It's millions of people waking up right now and they heathens. They can't even say that. Man, that's beautiful. Keep going.
And ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations.
Do what?
Throughout your generations.
See, some people kind of think that you're supposed to, it stopped 10 years ago or it stopped 100 years ago. He said throughout your generations. So as much as we having children and we keep populating and we keep living, and we got to keep Passover. Right? Keep going.
Ye shall keep it a feast by ordinance forever. 7 days forever.
Forever. So Lord said we got to keep this ordinance forever. Keep going.
Verse 15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, their soul shall be cut off from Israel.
Right. So not only do we get the leaven out of our households, but we get the leaven out of our spirits. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you 1 Corinthians 5.
The whole thing. This is about 7.
Yeah, 5:7.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump.
Right? So it says purge out the old leaven, right? And that's purging out the old leaven is you purging out that sin, right? You purging out that iniquity, right? You cleaning yourself. And how do you clean yourself? By repenting. That's how you do it. When you repent, right, that blemish is taken away, right? But you don't want to take take advantage of that washing, right? You don't want to take advantage of that washing. What's that? Let me get a precept on that. And Sirach. Give me Sirach 34 and start at verse 25.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 34 and verse 25. He that washes himself after the touching of a dead body, if he touch it again, what availeth his washing?
Right. So what availeth your washing if you repented for something, but you keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? And you got to change in this thing, right? And sometimes it's hard, but you got to make an effort for it, right? Some people want to willingly go off. You know what I'm saying? But you got to sit there. You got to fight. You got to fight the deep. You got to fight that sin.
Right.
All right? Keep going.
Verse 26. So is it with a man that fasts for his sins and goeth again and does the same?
Right.
Who will hear his prayer?
Right.
Or what does his...
So you don't want to take advantage of that time because who going to hear your prayers in that time? You keep doing the same thing over and 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 over again. Eventually, who going to hear your prayers? Because you done wash, it's like you washed a shirt, right? And you keep putting the same wine stain over and over on that same shirt. Eventually, and that wine stain is going to stay up in there. Eventually, the whole shirt is going to turn pink. It was white at one point, but because you still washing it, you keep still putting the same stain on there, now you got a whole pink shirt. It ain't even white no more. Keep going.
Or what does his humbling profit him?
Right, so what does your humbling profit him? All right, so you just want to make sure that when you get that leaven out you, that you don't want to just keep putting it back in you, right? So, and that's just spiritual, and that's going into self-examination, because you gotta know what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know what sins you're presently dealing with, and how you gotta fix them. You know what I'm saying? That's give me 1 Corinthians 13:5, because we gotta examine ourselves as people in this truth. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a part. You gotta know yourself. You gotta know what you're fighting against. You know what I'm saying? Well, knowing yourself is knowing what you're fighting against. Because we are our own worst enemy. You know what I'm saying? We can't blame this person. We can't blame that person. We gotta blame ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we the one that go off. Can't nobody put a gun to your head and tell you to go off but you. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta know yourself. You gotta know what your weakness is. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5 does not behave itself unseemly. 2 Corinthians 13, 5. Or 13. Yeah. It ain't no 15 or 13. What you looking for? It might be 2 Corinthians 13, 5. Salakia is 13. Yeah, 13. Yeah. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourself whether you be in the faith.
Right.
Prove your own selves.
All right, so it said examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Right? So that's what it means. It said examine yourself, seeing are you really in this truth or not? That's what we gotta kind of sit down and ask ourselves. Are we really in this truth? Are we really trying to keep these commandments? Are we really trying to be sincere and diligent? Do we really want the kingdom? You gotta kind of sit there and kind of examine yourself in that kind of manner, in that kind of way. Keep going.
Prove your own self.
Because you gotta prove yourself, right? Does that mean you trying to say, well, the point is you trying to prove that you can beat yourself, right? You can prove that I'm going to beat this old man. I'm going to tear down this old man. This old man is going to lose. That old me, to hell with him. To hell with her. Right? I'm a new person. Right? Keep going.
Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahweh Shai is in you, except you be reprobates.
Right? Because if you don't know yourself, right, you could end up being a reprobate. Because the whole time you're not examining yourself, so you're not thinking that you're doing anything wrong. Thus you become a reprobate, so now you're thinking whatever that you're doing is just okay. But it's not. You know? And that's just being real with yourself. You know, you can't just be okay with going off. Right? You go, it happens. We all go off because nobody's perfect in the truth. Nobody's perfect.
Nobody.
You're going to make mistakes, but it's how you handle it. Do you keep making mistakes? Do you build off that mistake? Do you learn from it? Or do you just say, well, hell, I'm used to making mistakes, so I'm going to keep on doing it. Right? That's how you get messed up. But go ahead, go bring it.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 16. For a just man falls 7 times and rise up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief.
So it said a just man, he gonna fall. He said a just man falls 7 times. You know what I'm saying? A just man. That's what it said, a just man. That's a righteous man. He gonna fall, but he gonna get back up. He gonna keep going. Just because you fall one time, that don't make you wicked. Just because you hit your knees a couple times, that don't make you wicked. But if you hit your knees and you stay down and you stay in that sin, now that's what makes you wicked. That's the difference. See, a just man, he gonna see that he fell, but he gonna get up. He gonna find a way to get up. Whether he gotta pick up, he gotta grab on to something, hold on to something, he gonna get up. You know what I'm saying? But that wicked man, he gonna still be on the ground. And that sin is gonna keep tearing him down. But that was good. That was good. Now go back to 1 Corinthians 5 and 7.
1 Corinthians 5 and 7. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 7. Purge out therefore the old living, the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
Right, so Christ, our Passover, right, he sacrificed for us. Right, he sacrificed his sins for us. Right? That's why we don't have to do the sacrificial lamb anymore. Because Yahweh Shai, he's that sacrificial lamb. Right? He's that lamb. Right? He's that same lamb that we killed back then and we spread that blood. That's what he is. Right? He's the same lamb. Let's get one on that too. Hebrews 13 and verse. Hebrews 13 and start at verse 11. Hebrews 13 and 11.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 11. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burnt without the count.
Because that what happened. We had to burn those beasts without the count, right? Keep going.
Wherefore Yahweh Shai also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood.
With his what?
With his own blood.
So Yahweh Shai blood is significant to us, right? So he can sanctify his people. Keep going.
Suffered without the gate.
Right, he suffered because Yahweh Shai, he suffered. Right, those things that happened to him, that was not good things. That wasn't a great thing that happened to him. And it was smoke beating him, right? They said, prophesy who's smoting you. Right, it was spitting on him, right? A whole lot of bad stuff happened to our king, man. Just for our sins, man. Right? So we just can't take that a light thing, right? You go back to that king.
Go ahead.
Back to 1 Corinthians 5, 7.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
Right, so not only do we eat unleavened bread, but our spirits got to be unleavened as well. Right, so it's two parts to it. You got the physical portion where we eating and we drinking, right? And then you got the spiritual portion of your spirit and how your spirit gotta be, all right? That's it on that. Okay, now we gonna go back to Exodus, right? Chapter 12.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt.
So we talked about that blood. Yahweh Shai, hey, he shed his blood for us. Keep going.
And this day shall be unto you for a memorial. And ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by ordinance forever. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
So, okay, after this day, we cannot have no kind of leaven, right? No kind of leaven, right? Because you don't want to get cut off, right? So you don't want to eat no leaven, right? And that's why we put it out of our houses. Because we don't want it to be, and we don't want to eat. We want to eat it. You know?
Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation.
So right now you said it's a holy convocation. This is a holy convocation. This is a convocation. Right? This is a gathering. Right? We're gathered together, brothers and sisters. We out here, right? And we were rehearsing the righteous acts. Right? We remember the memorial of Yahweh, right? Getting us up out of Egypt. Right? This is the holy convocation. Keep going.
No manner of work shall be done in them.
So it's gonna be taken as a Sabbath, right? And it says also the 7th day. So the last day is going to be a holy convocation as well. Right?
That which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread.
Right? So every man must eat. So everybody got to eat. Everybody got to eat. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
For in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Mm-hmm. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever.
By an ordinance forever. That's so we always got to keep Passover, man. And it's a very beautiful day. It's a day of being thankful. Think about it. And you being thankful. One, because Yahweh Shai, he said, well, hey, I'm a sacrificial lamb now. 2, because of Yahweh got us out of Egypt. And 3, because he about to get us out of this Egypt.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 1 and 20th day of the month at even.
Right. So we got to eat unleavened bread every day. Right. Every day you got to eat you some unleavened bread. And you ain't got to eat a whole pan of it, but you just want to make sure that you got some unleavened bread on the side. You eat it because what you're doing is you eat it in remembrance and knowing what it's for. Right. And first and foremost, you being obedient. Because Lord say do it, so that's what we got to do. Keep going.
Verse 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses.
Right. So you don't want to have no leaven in your houses, man. At all. Keep going.
For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel.
Right. And that's why we do our due diligence and making sure that we checking the different items and stuff in our house to make sure that we ain't got no leaven. Right. That's what we do that for. Right. Keep going.
Whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Ye shall eat nothing leavened in all your habitations. Shall ye eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, Go out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is the basin and strike the lintel and the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning.
Right.
For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians. Right. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the 2 side posts, the Lord will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you.
So the destroyer is that angel. So the Lord saying, I ain't going to send and you got that blood on your doorpost, that angels ain't gonna come up in there, right? And you gotta think about this. You can't. You gotta kind of get visual in this thing. You can't imagine no so-called white man
Right.
with wings or a little fat white baby with a halo on and a little arrow. No, you gotta think about mighty angels look like so-called blacks, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They got the heads of a cow, a face of a lion, and an eagle, and a man all together. All these different rings. You got the cherubims. Cherubims, they got 4 wings. The seraphims, they got 6 wings. So we don't even know who he sent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful, man. But keep going.
Verse 24. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when ye become to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. Verse 26. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? And that ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the house of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshipped. And the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they.
All right. So we got to do exactly what the Lord tell us to do in this thing, man. All right. Hold on. You go ahead, King.
And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smite all the firstborns in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
I said it wasn't not one house where there wasn't a dead person, right? And I was just talking about this, man. It said the firstborn. So the firstborn could be 10 years old. He could have been 30 years old. He could have been 40 years old. He could have been. It was a variety of numbers, a variety of ages. So a variety of people got killed by the Most High God. You had some fathers that died, uncles that died, cousins that died. And this was a sorrowful day for the Egyptians. Waking up to a dead family member. Imagine that every house, somebody waking up to a dead family member. That can only be done by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Keep going.
Verse 31. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as ye have said. Right. Also take your flocks and your herds as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. But they said, okay.
So, the Lord said, hey, man, you had to get up out of there. You got to take your cattle, everything, get up out of there. So I want to touch on another point of one of the things that we do for Passover. So we touched on the lamb. We touched on the lamb a little bit, right? We told you how it got to be cooked and things like that, right? I'm gonna touch a little bit on it. Go to Exodus 46 real quick. 12:46. Right, a little bit more lamb, and then we're gonna get into the bitter herbs.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 46. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone.
All right, so after this, this ain't the type of meal that you talking about I got leftovers, right? They had some more lamb leftovers, so I'm gonna take it to the crib. This is not that type of thing, right? You eat it here, and that's it. Whatever you eat here, it stays. Whatever you don't eat here, it stays here, right? And it's gonna be set to get burnt. That's how it goes. So it's not a thing that you say, well, hey, I done bust down a little bit, so now I'm gonna take this back to the room. You know what I'm saying? Go crazy a little later if I get hungry. No, you can't do that. Right? That does say the Lord. Right?
Keep going.
Come.
Verse 47. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 48. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised.
Right.
And then,
so you got to be circumcised. Men got to be circumcised, and then not only being circumcised physically, but you got to be circumcised in the spirit as well, right?
And then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one that is born in the land. For no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
No uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that shall join among you. Thus did all the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies.
Right, so it said, right, that's good right there. So now we understand how we're supposed to eat the lamb and how we're supposed to treat the lamb, right? So now let's touch on, we touched on unleavened bread. We talked about how we got to eat it for 7 days, right? The unleavened bread, right? It can't be leavened bread, but the unleavened bread, right? So now we're going to get into the bitter herbs. Because one might say, well, where does the bitter herb come in at, right? Go to Exodus 12 and 8.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs.
And with what?
And with bitter herbs.
So this is why we get the bitter herbs, right? Go to Exodus chapter 1 and verse 13. Because you got to remember what this bitter herbs is symbolic for. The bitter herb is symbolic for that bitter life we had in Egypt, right? And we got a bitter life now in this Egypt. Life is bitter here, man. Keep going.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter.
And what?
They made their lives bitter.
So we had a bitter life in Egypt, man. So that's what that bitter herb is symbolic for us. Don't you forget where I brought you from. Don't you forget what you used to do in Egypt. Right? Give me 2 Kings chapter 14 and verse 26.
It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 14 and verse 26.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter.
Right, so the Lord seen our affliction, and he's seen that it's very bitter. Hey, the Lord sees your affliction now. He sees the things that you're going through right now. And we all got little things that we got going on in our lives. The Lord did not forget you. You just got to continue to endure and be diligent in this thing. Because the Lord, he did not forget. Right? He knows what's going on. Now give me Psalms 107 and 10.
You said Psalms what?
107 and 10.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 107 and verse 10. Such as sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, being bound in affliction.
Right, we was bound in affliction. Were we not bound in affliction? Right, we was in darkness coming over here in these slave ships. Right, and we was bound with irons, bands. Right, and we kind of bound to this place, America. Hell, if you ain't got a passport, you can't leave. Try doing that. Right, they'll lock you up. Right, and guess what? You're gonna be bound in chains again.
Right.
Right, so hey man, we still bound in this affliction, man. Right, but we can be free though. Through your spirit of Yahweh. We can be freed by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Hey, freedom is coming. Right, you know how like dang Martin Luther King talking about something free at last, free at last. Hey, we free when we going back to Babylon, we going back to Israel. That's when we truly free. When we back in Jerusalem, that's true freedom. That's when you can really say free at last, free at last. Hey, freedom is coming though. Right? That's why we say the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's being truly free. That's the roles being reversed. Right? That's us being on top. Right? That's us being in rulership. That's us having everlasting life. No crying, no sadness, no death, no tears. Right? Joy.
I'm fine and I save it.
Jeremiah chapter,
Jeremiah 16.
Yeah, that's spirit right there, 16, 15.
You mean hold it?
16, 14. Yeah, hold that. Yeah, that's that.
Okay,
God. So now we finna go to a little bit more. Now go to First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 26.
My bad. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, and verse 26. For
Right, so we finna get on. We finna go into. We finna get into the being worthy of it, and we also gonna get into the wine portion, right? Because there ain't a reason why we just got just bottles of wine up here, because we just finna go crazy. It's symbolic. Everything that's with Passover is symbolic for something. Everything is the unleavened is not for a reason. The lamb is not for a reason, right? Everything is symbolic, right? The lamb is symbolic for Yahweh Shah, which died for our sins, right? Now, in the 11, the 11, right? That's us being righteous in the spirit, right? Because we got to get that 11 out of us, right? And so it's by us being 11, that's us being right with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, right? And that herb, right, that's us remember that bitter rigor affliction that we had, an affliction that we still got now, right? And the wine is symbolic for our Lord's blood, right? We're going to get into that, but first we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 11:26.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, and verse 26. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup,
right,
ye do show the Lord's death till he come.
Right, so we remember, right, what Yahweh Shah died for, right? He died for our sins. He died for us, right? And we eating that unleavened bread, that's symbolic for his body. All right, keep going.
Verse 27. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup to the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord.
Right, so that's why you want to make sure your spirit is right. Because you don't want to unworthily drink of this, because then, hey, man, and you're going to be guilty. And you're going to be guilty. And you don't want to suffer for that. Hey. Keep going.
Verse 28. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep.
See that?
Damn. That's deep, bro.
Read that one more time.
Verse 29. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body.
Right, because you don't want to take the Lord's body in vain. That's why we got to remember everything that why we doing this for, what it's symbolic for. We don't want to take this opportunity in vain, right? And if you do it unworthily, you drink into damnation. You're drinking into damnation. That's tough, man. Keep going.
Verse 30. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For
this cause many sleep. Hey, many sleep. And sleep ain't talking about you in your bed kind of slob hanging out your mouth. It's talking about sleep as in you dead. Keep going.
For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world. I can say something on that verse 30.
Go ahead, King.
Going back to that verse 30 when it said, for this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. So that's why it's very important, like the scripture said, to examine ourselves before we partake in the meal. Because if you partake in it unworthily, you're liable to get sick, you're liable to die, you're liable to, go through hell. So that's why it's so important for us to partake in the meal and make sure that we examine ourselves first, because we don't want to get into it and then we get into the meal and now we're catching hell.
So now, like I said, we was going to get into this wine. We're going to get into this wine. All right. So we're going to go to Luke chapter 22 and verse 15. So now we can understand, why do we have wine? Why is the wine here? All right. And we're going to go into it. All right. Luke 22 and verse 15.
The young here.
So this is why you must partake of everything in this meal. Thus said the Lord, right? Now, does that mean you got to sit here and go take a whole damn go? No, man. It's just, understanding what you're doing it for, understanding why you're doing it, right? Because the Lord say so. Right, keep going.
This the book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 16. For I say unto you,
start at verse 15.
Verse 15, and he said unto them, with desire, I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of Yahweh.
Right.
Whew. And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, take this and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of Yahweh shall come.
Right, and we know when it said the fruit of the vine, that's talking about wine.
Right.
That's why we have wine. Because this is how Yahweh Shai kept the Passover. So we're saying that we're followers of Christ, we're following his actions. We follow what he do. We don't follow men, we follow Yahweh Shai. Keep going.
And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave it to them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me.
Right, and that goes to that leavened bread. When you breaking that leavened bread and you eating it piece by piece, taking that and remember the Lord's body. That body that body that he gave for us. He gave his body for us. So we got to remember that. Keep going.
Verse 20. Likewise also the cup that Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you.
Right, so that wine, the wine is there so you can remember his blood. The blood that the Romans pierced his side and the blood sprinkled out, man. That blood. That's what that, right? And you got people that kind of think, man, Passover thing that you kind of get in, just get damn drunk. No. You got this wine here because the Lord died for his blood. It died for us. He gave his life for us, man. That's why it's so important that we do this to the T, do this to the leather. Because that's disrespectful, bro. Just being real. Right now we can't say nobody, we don't know nobody that gave their life for us. Right now, there's nobody that can say, well, they gave their life for me. No. Yahweh Shah literally gave his life for us. Literally. A man without sin. He ain't do nothing wrong. He thought about us. How wicked we was in this world. Still, we be going off now. And he died for us. He didn't have to go through that stuff, bearing our iniquities, because stuff we did. But he did it because he showed that true compassion and love. Right? Therefore, who are we to say, oh, I'm going to keep Passover how I want to? Hell no. No, man. That's disrespectful to the Lord, man. All right, keep going.
Verse 21. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table.
Right, that's good right there, King. That's good right there. So we understand what everything is symbolic for, right? We understand the lamb, right? If we want a matter of fact, let's get a little bit on the Yahweh Shah being that lamb real quick, right? Let's get that real quick. All right, give me John. Give me John 1:29.
129.
Come on.
This is the book of John, chapter 1. I bet it's like it.
And then get John 1:29.
This is the book of John, chapter 1 and verse 29. The next day John seeth Yahweh Shah coming unto him and said,
No, you
my bad. The next day John seeth Yahweh Shah coming unto him and said, behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sins of the world.
See that? He said the Lamb of God. That's why we got lamb. We got lamb on the grill right now. Symbolic for Yahweh Shah. He is that lamb, right? The Lamb of Yahweh, right? And when it says for the world, it's talking about the world of Israel. It's not talking about the whole wide world. We ain't in that Christianity spirit thinking that that Yahweh Shah died for everybody in the world because he did it, right? But we go you got to get it, man. You know, we just got to get it. Acts 5:29. We'll just go to the point. Acts 5:30. Yep.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 5 and verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Yahweh Shai, whom he slew and hanged on a tree.
Right.
Him hath God exalted him exalted with him, with his right hand, to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Israel.
To who?
To Israel.
Right, so the Lord died to give repentance to the Israelites. It did not say the Edomites, the Moabites, Amalekites, Ammonites, something with a kite. It said the Israelites, right? Keep going.
And forgiveness of sins.
Right, and forgiveness of sin. Because we go to hell off, we're sticked up people. Right, we need Lord to forgive us, man. Right? And I'm going to give one more. Give me 1 Peter 1:19. Going into your house shall be the Lamb.
First Peter chapter 1 and verse 19. But with the precious blood of Christ, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. For verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world.
Hey man, this was ordained from the foundation of the world. Hey, this Passover that we keeping right now. Hey, this was ordained from the foundation of the world. Right, before the world was even made, a Lord kind of had this whole thing plotted out. Hey, before you came in the truth, it was already plotted out. Think about that. Before you came in the truth, you found out who you were. This was already ordained.
Already. What that? I think I precept Jeremiah said before. Jeremiah said, "I formed you, then I knew you." Yeah, Jeremiah 1 and 5. There's a precept to show that what you're saying. Yeah, they want to find your card. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1 and verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Oh, so basically what he's saying is, before Jeremiah was even born, he was ordained to be a prophet. So that show you right there that everything preordained, man. We was made to be right here since the beginning. Right? Everybody that's seen was made to be here in the beginning, man. So we just doing the Lord's will. Right? So you got it, King. I just want to say that.
Mighty point. All right? So let's get back into it. Give me, let's get Job 4:19.
This is the book of Job, chapter 4 and verse 19. How much less is them that dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, which are crushed before the mouth. The mouth.
Oh, that was good. I didn't that one free, so I'm looking for my bad.
You good, King?
Give me let's see. Go to Colossians 1:11 real quick.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 11.
So what we about to go into real quick is just going into how you got to be in the spirit, right? Go ahead.
Verse 11. In whom also you are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, in putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ.
Right. So it's going to it's putting off the sins of the flesh, right? And we got to put off that flesh in this thing, man. We got to put off the flesh in this thing, right? When I go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22.
Ephesians chapter 4.
Because they're going into putting out the old man.
In verse 22. For it is written that Abraham had two sons. My bad. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 22. That ye put off concerning the former conversation with the conversation of old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust.
Right, and that's going into that. That's when you being circumcised in the spirit, right? And we putting off that old man, right? You got to put off that old man. And that old man, he's nasty, man. Right? The old man, he's filthy, he's dirty, right? And he crazy, man. Hey, that old man, and he's wicked, man. Right? But he's strong too, now. Right? If you let him, he'll overpower you. Right? But you gotta have the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shah to defeat him. That's the only way that you can defeat the old man. Keep going.
and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after Yahweh is created in righteousness and true holiness.
Right, so you got to put on that new man that's created in righteousness. Right, so when we have this Passover, we want to make sure that we have that new man on, right? And even after Passover, you want to continue wearing that new man. You want to continue having that new man, right? Right, you don't just want to be in the pit. Oh, it's Passover. I'm getting right for Passover, but then after Passover, you going back to being a wicked nigga. Passover over now. No, you want to continue having that new man, right? You want to continue being in the spirit of that new man, right? Having that old man, you still got your foot on the old man's neck, right? Keep going. Go ahead. You got King.
Pecan, like the brother saying, man, that's like a dog. That's like a dog returning back to his vomit. Cause this is a time that we're supposed to get our spirits right. Now we can't go back to our old ways, like the brother said, and be like, man, Passover over. So now I'm finna go back to be a wicked nigga. No, man, cause what we just read, you partake in this meal. So you basically signed up and be like, man, I'm sincere. I'm ready to die for this truth. Now if you go back to be a wicked nigga, man, hey, the Most High gonna judge you. Right, so we got to make sure we had the opportunity beforehand to examine ourselves and make sure that we was ready for this Passover. So now, if we partake in this meal, that's showing the Most High God that, hey, we ready to die for you, man. You know what I'm saying? We thankful for what you did, and we ready to go all out.
Con, that's right.
They said at 10, we got to quiet time, but it's 9:45, so we got time.
All right,
I set the timer so we know.
Okay. All right, matter of fact, we gonna get ready to wrap it up in a little bit. But give me Colossians 3 and 9.
This the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 9. Lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in the knowledge after the image of him that created him.
Right, so it says. Right, so it says in a new man which renewed in knowledge, and you gotta be renewed in your mind, right? You gotta be renewed in the mind. That's how you be renewed in knowledge, right? Give me 1 Corinthians Romans 12 and 2, right? Romans 12 and 2.
Romans 12 and 2.
Romans 12 and 2, man. Right? It says you gotta be renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. So we gotta be after the image of the Lord, right? Does that mean that we gotta start trying to, shape up a beard and try to look like the Most High? No, it's meaning that we want to be in the likeness of the Most High. That's what it means to say that image of him. You want to be in the likeness of the Lord.
Right. That's Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
So you got to renew your mind in this thing. Because some of us, our mind bad. Our mind is really bad. You know what I'm saying? But you got to renew your mind. Hey, the mind of the old man is bad. Right? Hey, the mind of people in the world, it's bad. They think about all kind of manner of wickedness, right? Smoking blunts, folly, you know what I'm saying? This, that, worried about Cardi B, you know what I'm saying? What Gorilla, what her new album gonna be like? These are things. These are the affairs of the world. You know what I'm saying? We can't be thinking about those things. Right? Hey, Lord said, hey, we can't be worried about the affairs of this life, right? Keep going. And that goes into coming out of Babylon, coming out of the mindset of Babylon. But we're going to get there real quick.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that, may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh.
Right, and what is the will of the Lord? What is the will of the Lord? Well, the will of the Lord is for us for his people to go back to the Jerusalem. That's the will of the Lord. Hey, the will of the Lord is to save the 1/3, right? That's the will of the Lord, right? So let's get a little bit more of that. Give me Romans 9 and 2, man. Romans 9 and 3.
This the book of Romans.
So before we get Romans 9 and 3 real quick. You go ahead.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh.
My what?
My kinsmen according to the flesh.
All right.
Who are Israelites.
Who are what?
Who are Israelites.
So this is not a religion, man. This is a heritage. This is what we were born into, right? We were born to be Israelites, right? And all these women, right, that's having babies, right, from an Israelite man, right, and they children, they born into this. You know what I'm saying? Every child that has a father, an Israelite man has a father, they born into this beautiful thing. Born into what? What are we being born into? Bring it out.
The adoption.
The what? The adoption. Keep going.
And the glories.
And the glory. So this is what you're born into. This is what Israelites are born into. We born with the glory, right? Keep going.
And the covenants.
Right? So we born with the covenants, right? The covenants, which is these laws, statutes, commandments, right? And the covenants that the Lord said he gonna put us in our land. Right? The Lord didn't forget his covenant that he had with Abraham.
Right.
He didn't forget that. That covenant that, hey, we gonna have everlasting life. That we gonna be with him. And he gonna say that we gonna say that we his people, and he gonna say he is our God. He didn't forget that. Keep going.
And the giving of the law.
Right? And we was born into, hey, the Lord gave us the law. He gave us the law, statutes, commandments. Right? Let's get that real quick. Psalms 148 and 19. Real quick, real fast. Ain't gonna be too long. We gotta understand through the scriptures, these things, this is what we born into. This is why we keep it Passover. Because we was born into this. This is part of our heritage.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 148 and 19. 148 and 19. You talking about 147?
Yeah, get that on that.
You good. This book of Psalms, chapter 147 and 19. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He has not dealt so with any nation.
So he have not dealt so with any nation. So that's why it's imperative that we keep his Passover. That's imperative why we keep his commandments. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't about just keeping Passover. You got to keep these commandments, man. Straight like that. You got to keep these commandments. Isn't that the heathen?
Yup.
Oh, that's in second. That's in second Esdras. I want to say 7.
It's all good. We can't find it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
You know what I'm talking about?
It might be photos.
Let me see.
It's 3 and 36.
Con. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 36. Let me start. I'm gonna start at
You go 35.
35.
No, 34.
34. Or 31.
Go 34. We gotta leave it.
34. Okay. 2nd Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 34. You said 34. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and there also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel.
But in what?
But in Israel.
So his name is not found nowhere else but in Israel. Keep going.
Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments?
So what other people have kept the commandments of the Most High God? Keep going.
So shall, my bad, thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathens.
But what?
But not the heathens.
So Israel have kept the precepts, but the heathen did not. That's what the Lord put that in this Bible. He let you know the heathen, they didn't keep the precepts. But
That Jeremiah 6, close that on that.
Oh, con. So we gonna leave out before we close out. That give me on Revelation 18 and 4 real quick.
Get out first.
Yeah, Revelation 18 and 4. So we about to close out. We got a couple more precepts. You know what I'm saying? This is the last precept. It just remind our people just to come out of Babylon, come out of mindset. Like I said, just not for just Passover, but for every day after this. Live according to the commandments. Be blameless. Purge out leaven. It didn't say, well, just purge out leaven for Passover. You know what I'm saying? Then you gonna go ahead and get that leaven again. No. Keep that leaven away from you. Keep that leaven out your spirit. We keep going.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4, or verse 2.
You want to good.
4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Right, so we gotta come out of Babylon, because we don't want to be partakers of her plagues. Right, because the Lord is finna plague Babylon. He's finna plague this place.
Right.
He's finna bring famine, death, destruction, and you don't want to be a part of that. You don't want to receive none of that. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, we gotta make sure that we come out of her. Does that mean that we go buy a plane ticket and we go to the next country over? No. It's saying you gotta spiritually wake up and separate yourself from this wicked and nasty and filthy world.
That's on 2 Kings.
Go ahead, bring it up.
And that's the thing too. The same thing that happened in Egypt is gonna happen here, because he just said, "Plagues, be not partakers of her plagues." So what did the Lord do to Egypt? He plagued it. So that's gonna be the same thing he gonna do to America, but 10 times more. Because like the brother read earlier, this is spiritual Egypt. This place is Egypt because America idolized Egypt. That's why it's a pyramid on your dollar bill. They want to be like Egypt, so they mimic ancient Egypt. So this place gonna get the same judgment plus more than Egypt got. But you gotta keep.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And just like how the beautiful point, just like how the brother said, that just as the Lord sent plagues to this place, he also gonna send a savior to come get his people.
Right.
And that's how the Lord he gonna send you how a shot to come get his people. Come on, go ahead.
I know it's a long time. Let me get it real quick. I think it's Deuteronomy 18. This Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. Oh, well, so the scriptures, this is in Deuteronomy. It was prophesied in Deuteronomy that, that the Lord was going to raise up a prophet that's going to be speaking his words, and that's Yahweh Shai. And what did Moses do for Israel? He freed the slaves. So that's going to be the same thing that Yahweh Shai going to do. He come back to free us out of captivity, out of bondage. The same thing Moses did.
That's right. That's right. So with that, we going to get this next precept, the last one. Y'all remember this, right? This is the banger. This is the last one. This is one of the most beautiful ones. You kind of got to meditate on this thing. This is a future prophecy.
Mighty precept. Mighty. Kind of get you turned through the scripture. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, says the Lord, that it shall not no more be said, the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel out the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
Right, so this is a future prophecy. So they ain't going to be talking about this the Lord that brought them out of the land of Egypt. No one's going to talk about this the Lord that brought them out the land of the north. This is the land of the north. This is Babylon. This is going to be the new high holy day. They're going to be talking about, man, that's going to be, in the kingdom, man, they're going to be having a feast to this day. They're going to have a feast to the day that we got out of America. We get out of America. That's going to be the next high holy day. And it's going to be, that does remind me of one of the mightiest ones.
The mightiest one.
Everybody go, hey, imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Just like we have Passover. Why? Because the Lord said, hey, this is what I did to the Egyptians before y'all got out of there. Same thing.
Right.
Because just like he destroyed the Egyptians before we got out of Egypt, he's going to destroy America before we get out of this Egypt right here. And he's going to, we gonna be in there. Go ahead.
But the Lord liveth, it shall no more be said, the children of Israel that was brought out the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he have driven them. And I will bring them again in their land that I gave unto their fathers. Behold, I will send for many. Ooh, I gotta get this.
You gotta get it. Go ahead.
Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them, and after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks.
Right. So what it's going into is now the Lord said, I'm sending for many fishers. You got men on the highways and byways. That's what they're doing. They're fishing. The whole time they're doing it. They're fishing in the spirit. Right. What did Yahweh say when he grabbed the disciples? He said, y'all fishers, but I'm about to make you fishers of men. So that's the same thing that been the Lord doing on highways and byways. They're fishing for the Lord in the spirit. They're out there casting lines, casting nets, trying to get in fish for the Most High God. Right? But the time is coming. Well, Lord, he said, well, I sent for some fishers. Now I'm finna send forth hunters. And that's when the Lord gonna have the 144, and they gonna be hunting the other nations. The heathen, they gonna go find them out the cliffs of the rocks. Keep going.
Con. For my eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from my eyes.
Right. So Lord, he's gonna find them. Right now, if you don't know, there's people with underground bunkers right now. Cities underground. So you're gonna have some people that's gonna die. You're gonna have some people that's still gonna be alive. But those that still be alive, they're gonna be hunted for. Right? And the Lord gonna get them. But that's it, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna end up on that. You know, if you wanna know what I'm talking about, I encourage brothers and sisters to read Isaiah, Jeremiah. It talks about a lot of the future prophecy that's gonna happen to Babylon, and how the Lord is gonna destroy America, and then how the Lord is gonna put the Israelites back on high. Right? He's gonna make them the ruling government of the world. Right? But with that, man, you got something you wanna say, King?
I get his last precept.
Go ahead, King.
Yeah, perfect time too. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 6. I have said you are gods and all of you are children of the Most High. So we got to remember as being the Israelites, as the children of Israel, that we are gods of this earth. You know, we're not niggas, you know what I'm saying? We're not, you know, just no regular Joes just walking around here. So we have to remember that we come from royalty and keep these feast days as honor, because the Lord didn't have to invite us here. You know, it's 420, people getting high right now. We got Freak Nick this weekend. We could have been in that. But the Lord allowed us to come to his feast days, you know what I'm saying, to worship him. So we need to thank the Most High daily and just be thankful to be an Israelite. We are the gods of this earth, right? And we got next.
And that's right, though. So I encourage brothers and sisters to, we getting ourselves together for Passover, but you shouldn't just take it as a date and say, well, I'm just getting together for this day. You want to get yourself together every day, because every day is important, because you never know when your last day going to be. You never know when you're going to have your last breath, man. So you want to continue to be on fire and remember that this is the beginning of the Feast of Bread, that make sure you're not eating any leaven, you know what I'm saying, and continue to eat your unleavened bread 7 days. And just, hey, man, remember what we came here for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a time to be down, negative. This was a joyous occasion.
Right.
Our people was happy because they're getting the hell up out of Egypt. So, just take joy in knowing that you're an Israelite and knowing why we doing this. And the fact that you could keep the Passover. Because you got some people that ain't, like the brother said. I know people right now getting ready for 420. Ready.
They've been preparing 2 days.
They woke up this morning with a blunt in their mouth. That's madness. Right? So with that, man, we're going to give our honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, right? And peace and grace to all, right, from our Lord Yahweh Shai. Shalom.